Welcome to the mic.
All right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. This is a breaking news development in the case involving Megan Pete, professionally known as Megan Thee Stallion, and Milagro Cooper, professionally known as Milagro Grams. Within the last hour, a federal Florida grand jury found Milagro Cooper liable for all three claims that Megan Pete made against her in her civil defamation case. That would be three three claims that Megan Thee Stallion made against Milagro Cooper. A jury found that she proved her case and awarded Megan Thee Stallion $75,000. A whopping $75,000. Why is this significant? This is significant because while the money damages or award wasn't that large, the message was clear. Megan Pete doesn't want to be bothered or defamed by Milagro Cooper. And the jurors saw it that way. Uh, I said on Twitter within the last hour that jurors typically send a powerful message by the size of the award. Well, a lot of people won't view this as a major win for Megan Pete or Megan Thee Stallion. The message is clear. If you defame someone and then you promote a fake video, the jurors will award against you. And this is the case. Um, I think there may have been a mixed message uh, received when I announced the jury verdict. And that's only because I'm looking at what the balance sheet will look like. Many people thought that this award would be as large as the one that Cardi B received in her case against content creator, member of the media, Tasha K. This wasn't that type of award. Megan wanted millions. Jurors only saw fit to award her $75,000. Why is that significant? During the testimony by Megan Pete, she said that she spent over $200,000 in treatments. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. There was also no award for legal fees. What we learned in the case involving Tasha K, there was a sizable amount. I want to say it was like $1.3 million in legal fees alone. That's not this case. So when I say that the balance sheet doesn't represent a win, I'm only saying that because there have been a lot of expenses that have been incurred by Megan Pete or Megan Thee Stallion that will likely never be paid. Um, but the message is clear. You can't defame someone and then not think that that person is going to come out and come after you. The other part to this is that there was always a question as to whether or not Milagro Grams was a member of the media. Well, the jurors had to decide whether or not she was a member of the media, and they decided that she is a member of the media. So the defamation part of the claim may be reversed or dismissed because, as a member of the media, she should have been put on notice that she may have violated Miss Pete's rights. She wasn't put on notice. I said cease and desist or some type of notice. Hey, send a letter out. Let her know what you're doing is wrong. That didn't happen. So the judge in this case will have to decide how he will handle that part of it. It was my belief that the judge should have made that decision during the trial, but he allowed the finders of fact, which is the jury, to make that decision, and that decision was pretty clear. I said early on throughout my tweets that Milagro Cooper is a member of the media. She runs a company like a media company. Um, Media company and a journalist, in my opinion, are different. But she ran a company like a media company. She had a mass audience. She had the ability to amplify her message. So I would view her as a member of the media. No different than when you look at someone like a P. Hessex, who came from the media space or other media personalities, they have a large platform and they use their platform the way they want. You can not like her, but you can't ignore the fact that she is a member of the media, no different than Joe Budden, academics, Alex Jones. They're all members of the media. We saw in the case involving Alex Jones that he was adjudged $90 million. That's a lot of money. So the point I'm making to you is that when you defame someone, you run the risk of not only losing, but you also run the risk of a sizable judgment against you. Now, is this just going to be a business expense for Milagro? Is she going to clean up her act? And I say clean up her act because just based on some of the evidence that was presented at trial, it did appear that she might have crossed the line. I won't say might at this point because the jury found her liable. Will she learn from this and will she move differently as a member of the media based on this jury's decision? That remains to be seen. Um, and and what is the message for content creators on YouTube, and their responsibility to, for example, vet the material that is put in front of them? Because part of that award included a 50,000. Part of that award was 50,000 for the deepfake video that was shared. I said early on throughout my reporting that that video sharing would be a problem for Milagro Cooper because she has a media company, she has a mass audience, and she promoted that video, and that you can't get away from because if it was only one person that saw that video, the jurors probably saw it differently. But when that is amplified by a mass audience, the jurors saw that too because you got to put yourself in the jurors probably say, hey, what if that was a video, fake video about me? They looked at it and they, if I was on the jury and I knew that she had shared that video, I too would have voted that she was liable for sharing that video. And I'll give you an example. Today, uh, yesterday, I shared a photo that had a watermark belonging, what purported to be a watermark belonging to TMZ. It was a picture of Sean Combs in the yard, and my message was "Good morning." Now, why why was that a problem? Because that photo was fake. And I corrected it. I contacted the producers at TMZ and I asked them, "Is this a photo belonging to the company?" Because it had the watermark on it. So someone intentionally took TMZ's watermark, placed it on the photo, and put it out into the universe. I shared it immediately. I took it down, and I want to, while I'm at it, I want to apologize for sharing that photo, and I should have known better. So we make mistakes. We make mistakes, but we correct them. We don't double down on something that is a mistake. So that's what I did. Now, as far as the deepfake video that Milagro Cooper shared, I don't think there was a time where she corrected that and apologized. That's probably one of the ways you can protect yourself. You acknowledge there was a mistake. And the type of here's the problem: the type of video, in my opinion, shouldn't have been shared at all anyway, because it was a video that was purported to be a porn video. It should have never been shared. As a member of the press, why would you share a video like that? So in that respect, I hope she really learned a lesson there, because no one wants that to even be a part of, again, I don't know if Megan will have children later on, but if a family member, your children see that and that was amplified, then they may think that, hey, my mother, this video was circulating on the internet and it had to be corrected. So I agree with many people that it wasn't really about the money. It was more about the send a message. And there are content creators out today that have literally done that. They literally put out videos and fake news that have harmed other people. And it was a right to sue. Now, can I say I would have approached it that way? No, that's not me. It didn't affect me. So what she did, she felt this was necessary in order for her to clear her name. And the other part to this was that during testimony, uh, there was evidence that was produced that Milagro Cooper received payments from Tory Lanez's family member. That too is a problem. Then it was also some deletion of text messages, which also created another problem. This is why the jury, I believe that they found that she was liable on all counts. Now, was it worth it? Was it worth it for Megan to do this? Again, that's a personal decision because, again, it affected her. Now, her having this type of association with the family and Tory created a different narrative that was amplified, and people saw that, and that, and I said that because other content creators, I'm not going to name them, that but they also during the trial of Tory Lanez, they had an opinion as well as to whether or not Megan was telling the truth, and even I covering the trial. And going in, not during the trial, but prior to the trial, I spoke about the interview that Megan did with Gail King, and where she was asked a specific question, and she gave a specific answer. So people believe because she gave that specific answer to the question that her credibility was shot. And this is why opinions are formed because some will say that if you lie a little bit about this, you might be lying about this. But during the trial, it was very clear from my perspective that she had fragments in her foot, and I never believed that it was just glass. I believe, based on the testimony, based on the evidence, based on varying things, that the defense didn't prove that Tory was not guilty. And I think that while people have their opinions, you can't really fault people for having opinions. But if you're a member of the press, you got to report the facts. And then if you want to give your opinion based on those facts, that's okay. But in this case, it was a lot more done. So while people think that, hey, Dennis, you're writing for Milagro, no, what I said was that she is a member of the media, and members of the media are not absolved from liability if you defame someone. No different than Alex Jones and other content creators who have been sued in the past, even being a member of the press. Look at the case where Hulk Hogan sued Gawker for similar, and he prevailed. He prevailed. So you can be a member of the media, but you still have to be responsible. And I think that's the message that people must take away from this judgment. I said it in the case involving Cardi and Tasha, and I'm saying this in the case involving Megan Milagro. And I'll say this for anyone doing news or opinion pieces, you gotta be very careful. You gotta be very careful. And you can't be doubling down on something that is fake and defamatory because you may find yourself in a similar situation. Will Milagro be able to come out of this judgment much easier than probably many people that have been a judge in these type of cases? It's not a lot of money. It's not a lot of money with someone who has talent. It's not a lot of money. So do I think this is a major blow? I think this is more of a message to content creators. I think for that reason alone, it may help clean up some of the mess on the internet because there are other people, as I speak, are that spewing misinformation on the internet. They are spewing misinformation on the internet, and they too may have to be held accountable for their behavior. This here could have been a lot more uh, financially painful for Milagro. I mean, legal fees. Her attorneys took the case pro bono, so she doesn't have to worry about that. 75,000, it's not a lot of money, but it is enough. It's a wake up call. It's a wake up call for how you do your business, and also it also impacts your brand. And she can recover from this judgment because it's a lesson to be learned. And I don't, if I think if she doubles down after this, it can get a lot worse. And how about the other people that kind of dodged the bullet, so to speak, with Megan suing them? This is an example of how jurors will look at defamatory behavior as well as promoting deep fake photos and videos. So, with that said, I do think that Megan had the right to sue. I do think that Milagro has a right to have an opinion. However, if your opinion is defamatory, you don't get a pass with the jurors. You don't get a pass with people of your in your profession. And I think that's the biggest takeaway here. I spoke to one of my colleagues that is a journalist, and I asked him before the verdict came out. I said, "What do you think about?" I gave him three questions. What do you think? Do you think that Milagro should be accepted as a member of the press? Uh, and I asked him two other questions, and he didn't view her as a journalist, and I'll tell you why. Because he's been a journalist for a long time, and he, I would say that if there was maybe a misstatement in one of the stories that he wrote, he corrected it. No different than I would if I made a mistake in an article or something. Can't double down on a mistake. You correct it once you realize there's a mistake. And I think that many people were disappointed in the position that someone with a big platform took during the trial of Tory Lanez. I think that that was one of the biggest problems, coupled with the fact that there appeared to be some type of relationship with the family. Um, and then we learned during the trial there was a deletion of text messages. What was in those text messages? Uh, and this case is going to be studied. It shouldn't be studied too much because we saw it in the case of Cardi B and Tasha K and Alex Jones. And what's the other one with Amber Heard and Johnny Depp? So we see these things happening. You got to be very careful if you're going to be out there. And Amber Heard is a stretch. There was a little different, but there's still defamation involved. She accused him of things that the jury saw that didn't happen. You got to be very careful, and I think that's the takeaway. I think that's the biggest takeaway from this whole case. So for those who think that I'm team anyone, I'm not team anyone. I'm team being responsible as someone who wants to be a member of the media, who puts himself out as a member of the media. But it's not just involving black content creators. It involves people that have a megaphone and they talk to the audience. You see it all the time. I'm not going to point out any particular person who's been doing it, but I see it. It happens all the time. And sometimes people think they can get away with it. And sometimes people won't let you get away with it. They will fight back. I I may choose to sue someone for doing similar. Who knows? The statute of limitation hasn't expired in some cases. Let me look at this. I see some comments coming in. Listen. Hold on. Judge, the numbers hasn't been. I see someone said 59, not 75. It's not been decided yet. Calm down. Wait for it. Let's get the actual ruling. We'll see. Okay, so someone said, "Can I talk about?" Let me post that question. Let me post the question here. Let me see here. Can you talk about what happens if the judge finds her to be media? Well, the jurors decided that she was media. So the lawyers had to brief the judge on how this should be resolved. The jurors already said it. He made the finders of fact, which is the jurors. He tasked them with finding out whether or not they believe that she was a member of the media. And they said, yes, she's a member of the media. I think the judge should answer that question before trial started, but not before, yeah, before trial started. But he gave it to the jurors. She gave it to the jurors. Why did she task that for the jurors? I mean, there was enough receipts and enough material out there to show that she was a member of the media. Member of the media and being a journalist is different. That's different, far different. So I want to see, I reached out to Milagro to see if she wanted to give comments. She said she would do it on a station head. I mean, I, I mean that's okay, but I think that um, she did stop to talk to the media. Megan the Stallion didn't stop to talk to the press. So, and so one reporter, I'm not going to say Megan Kunis asked the question, why was she? Why? What was she worried about about the legal fees? Well, there wasn't a judgment in legal fees, so I don't know why she asked that question. I'm not gonna be petty. I'm gonna be nice. I'm gonna be nice. Hold on a second here. Okay, let's see here. Let's see here. Okay, so as it relates to appeal, of course you can appeal. Megan, excuse me, Milagro can go right to the circuit court, the U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals, and challenge the juror's decision. It happens. It happens. We saw Tasha K do that in the case involving Cardi B. We saw it. It happens. People have the right. This it doesn't just stop here. This is the district court. It can go all the way up to the Supreme Court, the United States Supreme Court. If the judge, for example, we talk about a First Amendment issue here. Now that the juror said that she is media, and depending on how this judge makes his final decision on this, it could be a First Amendment issue. I mean, she's a member of the press. The juror says she's a member of the press. So what are we talking about here? But she does have the right to appeal every claim that was decided against us. So she has a right to do that. I'm just reading some of the questions. I'm reading some of the questions here. Drop your questions in here. If I can answer, I will. Okay. Okay. I'm reading it. Hold on. Hold on. You got to put them in here. One second, guys. Hey, everyone. Hey, everyone. Hey, everyone. Hold on. Hurry. Okay. Okay. Hold on a second. Okay. So some of you saying she delete the video like 10 minutes. So let's look at this for a second. You have a lot of followers. You can have 1 million followers, and you make a post. It goes viral in less than 10 minutes. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. You got to think about this. I had a picture up, and I admit I was wrong, but I corrected it. And mine was up 24 hours. But this is why I said earlier that the courts might have to do something. And I don't know if the courts can even do this to even make people AI responsible, or whoever the creators of these photos. If we can even track, it has to be a way to be able to track fake photos, because those pictures of Diddy, and I'll tell you why they look so authentic, is because when I covered the trial, Diddy looked like these pictures from the courtroom. Like, a lot of you didn't see how he looked in the courtroom. The sketches didn't do him well, but those photos. And I think what happened was, whoever created that AI photo, they got it from the first photo that TMZ released that looked like Diddy, like looked like him from the courtroom. And one of the producers said to me today, he said, "Dennis, this picture is clearer than the one that we released." And I should have, listen, if you're in a prison institution and you got a guy in the foreground holding the camera phone up, taking a picture, and you have Diddy in the background, first of all, he done blew up his spot already because he's in the picture. And then, so it was, listen, hey, we do it, but was it malicious? Was it intentional? Did you, were your intent to do harm? It was a video purporting to be a sex tape of someone. I would have never shared that. That's not, listen, we don't do that. I mean, if Twitter posts these type of videos on social media or Instagram, now I just learned recently is what I was on Instagram like 2 weeks ago, and it's a person who, I didn't know Instagram allowed porn on there. I'm like, wait a minute, hey, my kids be looking at it. My kids are old now, but they still look at it. I don't want to go to Instagram and it's in my feed, and I may have looked at the picture maybe. Anyway, it's in my feed. But the fact of the matter is, I'm not sharing a purported video of anyone. in that kind of compromised position or any type of porn. I'm not doing that. That's just not what my brand is about. And I think that um, her amplifying that video was the problem. And the jurors saw it that way. It was a problem. And a problem that they want her to pay for by way of 50K. 50K is a lot of money for one photo. When you didn't, for one video that you didn't, it was no reason for that. And I hope that even that part right there, people should wrap their minds around, because that could have been any one of you. Any one of you that could have been the victim of that deep fake video. Any one of you. So do I say that Megan's claims that what he did to her is wrong? No, I can't. Who am I to say that? She made the case. My only issue is the jurors could have sent an even more powerful message with the award. 75,000 versus 4 million, which I believe they wanted, is a far different message. Can anyone agree with that? Not saying the jurors didn't believe Megan, but you have to not only believe her, but you have to give those damages that would support what she has claimed. Compensatory, punitive. It has to make sense. Because if you want to stop a certain type of behavior, you put a smackdown on that behavior. That was my only message. I'm not saying that what the outcome wasn't worth it for her, but for the bigger picture and the bigger scheme of things, for other people that move in that manner, there should have been a more financial message sent if the jurors really felt like that. That's my only point. That's my only point. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just trying to see your messages. Listen, we ain't talking. Someone said you don't treat Nikki like that. We ain't talking about Nikki. I'm not talking about Nikki. Hold on a second, guys. Let me read something. Now, here's the other point to that. I said that the jurors might not want to bankrupt. Now, here's the thing, and I'm going to show you what the difference between what happened in Cardi B's case against Tasha K, and we're talking about the damages. Well, in Cardi B's case, the jurors saw that there was a lot of money being made by Tasha K, and what was being promoted, and how much money she was making. So the jurors saw that it was more lucrative for Tasha K versus Milagro, where Milagro came in and said, "Hey, she didn't cake up for putting this out there. She came in like, hey, I don't even have, I'm pretty much destitute." So the jurors weren't trying, and it was a good strategy. If Milagro got that bag stashed away, it was a good strategy they played to the jurors' heartstring. The jurors said, "Hey, we're not going to bankrupt her, but we're going to send a message. 75K for someone that quote unquote don't have it, it's a lot of money." Now, if Milagro pops out tomorrow wearing Louis, Gucci, Prada, and all, and she's balling out of control, and hey, it was still a good play. It actually, it was a good strategy to use for these jurors, because the damages is what the end result is, and the balance sheet tells you whether or not it made sense. No, let me tell you, y'all keep talking about attorney fees. What we learned during these civil cases, federal civil cases, when the jury comes back with awards, they tell you right there what the and I'm going to double check, but in the case involving Tasha K and Cardi B, we knew what the jurors' awards were right then. We knew what the punitive, compensatory, jury jury fees were right then at the end of that verdict. So we don't have that here. We know that what the money breakdown is right now. I'm reading some of the comments, guys. So um, let's see here. Let's see. Now, how many attorneys that listen? At the end of the day, you know as well as I know that the way Megan moves, it is expensive. When a celebrity moves from state to state with a team of lawyers, 75,000 ain't cutting it. I can tell you that 75,000 could have been ate up in 4 hours. If you're getting top tier attorneys, 75,000 is nothing. So, and who's going to pay for this? Will Rock Nation pay for this, or will this come out of Megan's budget with the label? Who's paying for this? Because it's a lot of money. I would estimate, based on the amount of days that this case took, it was in the millions, close to, I would say, over $1 million for them that Megan had to shell out, or someone had to shell out to win this case. Was Milagro worth the money? That's my point. Was it really worth the money going after her? Was it really worth the money? That's the question. Because she's not a big content creator. People have millions and millions of subscribers, followers. Was it worth it? That is something that she has to decide. Others will, they will have their opinion and say it wasn't worth it. Was it worth it? That's all. Exol. I'll try to find out that for you today, and I'll post it. I'll post it. Now hold on. Now let's talk. Let's talk about work. Let's talk about work. Was it worth it? Was it worth it? Now the question is, how will this help Megan in her music career? Will this hurt her brand, or will this help her brand? Will she get that same type of effect that Cardi B received at the conclusion of her trial against TK? That's the question. So when I say everything has to make sense, everything has to make sense, and your team has to advise you on this. Will this impact record sales for her? Will this elevate her status as an artist? Will people clamp down and not harass and bully her if some of you think that she's being bullied? I do know there are many celebrities get bullied all the time, and non-celebrities get bullied all the time. So I guess we won't know. She didn't talk to the press. She walked past the media today. She didn't she could have, because made some statements. I'm talking about I'm talking about Megan Pete. She made statements to the press during the trial. Not a lie. It was a gag order. There's no gag order now. You can talk. You can tell people how you felt and explain to your fans and those who might have an issue with how this was handled. Why did you do it this way? Right then, stand in front of the press. Not in a. I mean, she could choose however she wants to talk to the media, but I had at least 10 questions I would like to pose to her, as well as I reached out to Milagro. We'll see how that plays out, ladies and gentlemen. But again, there has to be um, a, a, a message for the people. Am I upset she didn't talk to the press? Hey, that's her prerogative. I'm sure Gail King is waiting. Okay, guys, let's see what else we got going on here. Hold on, let me see any other questions here. There are a lot of questions coming in. Okay, here. Okay. All right, guys. So we have 16 100 of you watching from wherever, all over, I'm sure. Okay, hold on. Let's see. Okay, Bailey, you might be right there, Bailey. Let me show what you said. Okay, Bailey. Oops, I don't want to show the wrong one, Bailey. Let's see what you said here. She might not be happy with the verdict. Well, when, you know something. When you're asking, and I'm gonna tell you, I've been not personally in that situation, but when we heard the outcome in the case involving Cardi and TK, those who were in the courtroom, what we were listening for is what is all this going to cost TK for what she did? That's what we were waiting for. That was what we were waiting for. Because a lot of us went there believing that, hey, Cardi made a good case. But what was the punishment for being liable? That's what we wanted to hear. And we heard it. As I listened, as the numbers came out, I said, wow, this is if I'm correct, it was 3 million. I forgot the number. It was almost $4 million. And wait a minute. And she wanted $4 million too? Really? $4 million? Really? I'm just saying. Don't listen. Don't listen. Don't shoot the messenger. I don't know. Listen, someone just asked the question. I think he might just came in. So will the judge have a decision whether Milagro was meat or not? No, it's the finders of fact is the jury. The jury already decided. The judge, he just has to establish whether or not that part should be dismissed. Milagro is going to argue to have it dismissed based on her not being properly put on notice. And because she wasn't properly put on notice, that part should be dismissed. And it may end up being just 50K. So hopefully I answered your question. She's been found to be a member of the press. She is media. That don't have to be established. What has to be established is whether this part of the case should be dismissed based on the jurors' finding of the fact. Judge is not Judge can't increase the damages. So no, that's not no judge is not increasing damages. Like, come on, hey, come on. Who said that? It's not happening. He can reduce it, and she can appeal. So that's how that plays out. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I do appreciate you. I was trying to read a few of the questions. If you have more questions, this is your time to ask. I would like to. I'm at a different location, so I can't really. I wanted to bring someone else in. Uh, as a matter of fact, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do something different today. If you want to come up on the platform, I'm going to drop the link and we can ask some questions. Come on up and tell me what you think about the case. Let's see if we can bring someone up here. Hold on. I'm going to copy the link. I'm going to post the link in the comment section. So if you're on Twitter, if you're on YouTube, you can come up. I don't know who Millie Jane is. I'm posting this link. If you're on YouTube, make sure you follow me at Mr. Dennis Bryan or follow me at Hip Hop Inquiry. I'm see if I can post the link here. Let's see here. Let me post that there. Okay. I Tia with the T. If you're out there, come on YouTube and click on the link because you've been following this case as well. And that's for anyone who's interested in this case. If you're a content creator and you have your point of view on how the case came out, I'm just interested in hearing what you got to say. You have a few minutes to click on the link. Just click on the link and pop up, and let's see if we can have a discussion about this. I think the biggest takeaway should be that you cannot defame people. You cannot defame people. You can't. Especially if you're a member of the media. Especially. So, being a member of the media, you have some protections, but you don't have the protection to defame. You just don't. We know that to be the case with President Trump and how he's went after media outlets and sued them and successfully won. So just think about that for a second. And I think that Megan was trying to send a message, but she also wanted that bag. Let's not make light of that. I believe she also wanted that judgment because if you didn't want it, you wouldn't ask for it. So let's be honest there. Don't come back in and say no. She didn't. It wasn't about the money. If you ask for the money, you expect the jury. Come on. If that juror say, yeah, $2 million, you think Megan would say, oh no, she don't have to pay it. No, it's not. That's not happening. You want to hurt people's pockets. That's what the ultimate goal is, to hurt a person's pockets when you're suing them. Take them out. Don't allow them to breathe. You want to make them, you know how it goes. You know, Megan wanted to hurt her pockets. She wanted to bury her. And it wasn't just, I mean, politically, you say, hey, I don't care about the money. But we know that the money was a very big part of this case. Even though she didn't think she could, listen, even if that person don't have it today, there's a tomorrow. And another, and there's this year. It could be next year. It could be, if you happen to be able to hit the lotto, she's coming for it. This year, Milagro can handle that. I believe. Let's not play games here. Let's not say, oh, I see some of the comments on Twitter. Oh, it was never about the money. It was just sending a message. You send a message by hitting someone's pockets. Since when did that change? In all these cases, in criminal cases involving, or not criminal, but cases that involve people that have died, they don't just want a jury to say, hey, the officer is liable for doing these acts. They want to send a message. They want to bankrupt people. You want to make sure they don't do it again. And how else do you make someone not do it again? You send a powerful financial message, and that's my point. When I tweeted the balance sheet part, yeah, this is not a win on the balance sheet. That's all I was saying. That's all I was saying. Right. They want what they asked for. They come in, listen, who coming in and say, hey, 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 I'm just here to, I'm just here just because I want the people to feel that I came in to defend them. Nah, you want the bag. You may not have to pay me today, but you're gonna have to pay me one day. Let's not play games here. I can lie to you and say, oh no, it's sensitive. No, no, no. You want the bag. Because if you didn't want the bag, you wouldn't be in court. No one's gonna throw good money into bad money. Because you would think that if all the boxes have been checked for a win, then the damages should be also given. That's what you want. Let's not play games. That's what you want. You don't go into a trial with the expectation of winning and not getting all the wins that you deserve in this outcome. It so technically speaking, it wasn't a split verdict, but it can be once this judge makes his decision, in my opinion. So right now, in this moment, it's not a split verdict. All the boxes were checked. And Megan Pete prevailed in those three boxes checked. But did she prevail on the financial side? I don't think so. She prevailed on the liable side, but is the punishment that she wanted to happen received? Okay, so on. Let's talk about the appeal process. Is this case worth appealing? Just think about that for a second. Is this case worth appealing? Only my opinion is only way this is worth appealing if the judge doesn't dismiss the defamation. That's when I think it's worth appealing. As far as the monetary, Milagro, technically speaking, she won. She's not out of pocket with attorney fees, which would have been a lot more than what the jury awarded Megan. So I can be politically correct and say, "Oh, this is not a win." But I mean, she's gotten press, not great press, but how do you think? Do you think Tasha K did well? I think Tasha K is doing well now. She got a lot of press. More people know about her. So I don't know. Was this a deterrent? That's the question. Was this enough to deter Milagro for doing the things that she had been accused of doing? I think it can be. She's a very smart woman. And I think that she won't make those mistakes. And listen, this was a shot that was fired over the bow. She saw that, it wasn't a direct hit, so to speak, because again, the financial damages is not that much. But it's enough for her to wake up. And it's enough for other people to take heed, especially if there's some people right now might be getting sued soon. Their content creators, like just based on the way they move. And this is a measuring stick for those who might be in similar situations. So let's just see. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for coming in. I'll see you on my next live. I hope you guys enjoyed, the talk. With that, hopefully I didn't offend anyone. Hopefully I was able to answer your questions. And as a member of the press, as a journalist, I would just say this. If you're in doubt about something or you're uncertain about it, don't even do it. Don't even do it. You have to police yourself sometime. You're not going to have the luxury of having a lawyer tell you, hey, what you're about to do, you shouldn't do. So you might have to police yourself. You know what you're about to say is going to be wrong because you have that gut feeling. In the moment, how you have your conscience tell you, hey, don't do that. Don't do that. You have to listen. You're going to have to listen. You can't have the temptation of saying anything just so you can get the reaction. Some of you have skated. Some of you have said some of the most egregious things about others because you feel like, hey, they're not going to say anything. They're not going to fight. But in this instance, when someone has money like this, she's fighting. She's fighting. She had to know going in, Megan had to know going in that bag would not have been immediate, even if she won like she has won. But she was going for the gold. Did she get the gold? Well, only time will tell. Only time will tell. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you coming in, and I will see you on the next live. Let's leave out the way we came in.
It's the Dennis Byron Show, breaking headlines, truth in every flow, from courtroom seats to exclusive shots. Journalism raw, yeah, Byron calls the shots. Subscribe, stay woke, now let's get in the know. It's the Dennis Byron Show, Dennis Byron Show, it's the Dennis Byron Show, Dennis Byron Show.